Glorious movie recap here. In today's recap, I'll be talking about a 2015 sci-fi action movie titled Parallels. Spoilers ahead. Alex Carver is putting together an emergency kit in his suburban home one night when three dangerously appearing men pull in front of his house and yell out his name. Alex brings a curiously shaped box wrapped in newspaper among the necessities. The following day, MMA fighter Ronan Carver loses yet another fight. Following a doctor's examination, his couch chastises him for not caring about winning, picking back alley bouts, and living out of a bag. After the couch has paid him and departed, Ronan takes up his phone and discovers a message from his father, telling him he needs to return home immediately and enter the building at 6:19 p.m. on Sunday. His voice seems pretty artificial, and Alex and Ronan hadn't spoken in 2 years, so this is all extremely strange. But Ronan chooses to go home anyhow, especially since his father has not returned his calls. He enters his parents' house with his old keys, but finds no sign of his father. Instead, he finds Beatrix, his sister and new college student, who informs him their father moved out a few months ago, and she hasn't seen him much since their mother died. The siblings realized they had both gotten the same message from Alex and thought it was weird, so they searched the remainder of the house for him. While inspecting the garage, they are approached by Harry, their next-door neighbor who is in love with Beatrix and works as a public defender. He tells them he's seen Alex around but never engaged with him, and he cites the individuals who were shouting in front of his house the night before. When they open the trunk, they discover Alex's emergency pack, which he always had on hand in case he needed to get out of town quickly. He was often traveling for work, so his children didn't get to see Dad very often. They discover numerous survival items such as a knife and a flashlight inside the bag, but most importantly, the box wrapped in newspaper. Inside is a bizarre black orb that beeps and lights up when activated. Ronan clicks a button, and the newspaper that came with it has an intriguing headline, stating that Clinton was killed and Gore took the oath of office. Harry urges the siblings to contact the police and introduces them to his friend Captain Stone, who is unable to assist them because there is no evidence of crime. He guides them to the building Alex indicated and informs them that it is abandoned after agreeing to keep a lookout for their father. When Ronan, Beatrix, and Harry enter the building, they find it vacant, exactly as Alex predicted. Ronan discovers a paper bag labeled Dragon Burger, which does not exist in the city, and Harry attempts to use the elevator. However, it does not function. The walls are covered in graffiti depicting many worlds, such as one in which the Twin Towers collapsed on a different day, another in which all kids are born as twins, and so on. Suddenly, an alarm sounds and lights flare around them, prompting the gang to flee the building in terror. What they see outside is extremely shocking. The city has been completely destroyed by a bomb, with the exception of the structure, which remains untouched. It couldn't have happened just now since they would have heard it, and the plants that have grown over the rubble indicate that the nuking is ancient. They are scared out when they spot two people going by, so Beatrix approaches them and asks for assistance. But all they receive is a gun threat and a warning to remain back. A roaming patrol arrives on a vehicle and starts fire on the strangers, prompting the trio to flee back into the building for safety, where the men do not dare to follow them. They begin up the stairs, only to discover that they are barred beyond the 7th floor, so they enter a chamber instead. Harry develops a theory that the writings on the walls are real, and that this building can transport them to alternate versions of Earth. This is confirmed when a fourth person appears unexpectedly in the room. Polly, who proceeds to tell them everything she knows while using slang they are unfamiliar with. The structure is rather large, with several entrances and exits. It leaps every 36 hours, and if you leave, you must ensure that you will return for the jump, otherwise you will be abandoned in some random world forever. Nobody knows how many Earths exist, but some individuals believe that every potential possibility exists. Polly is from one of these many Earths and has been hopping around for a long time, so her advice for surviving in a dangerous world like this one is to keep hidden. To pass the time, the party decides to sleep, but they are attacked by an armed patrol commanded by Tinker, who drives them to meet the boss of their local settlement. When they enter the premises, Harry notices his mother, but is unable to establish eye contact with her. The settlement commander is shown to be an alternative version of Captain Stone, who advises them to avoid the building since it is unsafe. Polly takes over and convinces him that they are just lost tourists, but their cover is blown when Harry unintentionally addresses Stone by name. Tinker interrupts to accuse them of being dangerous, exactly like the person who came out of there the last time and carried the bomb that blew up a city. So when the gang fails to answer some simple questions about the world they're in, Stone agrees to let Tinker question them. Harry and Polly are put in a cage, while the siblings are shackled and transferred to a different room, Beatrix to a chair and Ronan to a pipe. Ronan becomes enraged and begins shrieking and moving his body in an attempt to break the pipe, but Beatrix brings up their mother to get him to stop. When she asks Ronan why he left after their mother died, he says it was to protect her from himself. Beatrix begins to chastise him for leaving her to care for their father alone, but their debate is cut short by Tinker's arrival. Beatrix attempts to befriend Tinker in order to weaken his defenses, but he sees right through her. He does, however, continue to answer her inquiries. He's in charge of building and fixing things, as well as doing little surgery on occasion, but his true passion is electronics. He also informs her about the bomb that blew up New York City and murdered his wife and children, as well as the fact that he built his own weapon. Tinker, desperate to locate the perpetrator of the bomb, shows them the tape from the security camera in front of the building, and Beatrix identifies it as Alex. Tinker begins his questioning using a pistol that has been customized to accept any round. If Beatrix does not respond to his queries, he will shoot Ronan. But his queries are all about her father or the building, and she has no idea what their secrets are, so Tinker proceeds to place the pistol directly under Ronan's chin. When Beatrix takes the opportunity to distract him by stating she'll chat, Ronan utilizes an MMA move to knock him off. Following that, he bursts the pipe and snatches Tinker's keys in order to free himself and his sister, while Tinker awakens to activate his explosives. Ronan punches him out again, and the two of them exit the room, taking Tinker's rifle with them. Meanwhile, Polly is approaching Harry in the cage. He's not sure whether to take her seriously or not. Their conversation is cut short when the siblings arrive to rescue them. After knocking out the patrol's caretaker, the gang steals the patrol's car and flees the area, while Stone and his men discover Tinker has detonated the device. He instructs them not to follow them because he will use the bomb to blow up the building, and he uses Stone's vehicle to transport the nuke there. The stolen car runs out of petrol before they can return, so Ronan and the others sprint the final stretch of road as Tinker closes in on them. The gang hurries inside and waits for the building to collapse, but because the bomb is going to detonate, Ronan apologizes profusely to Beatrix. When the nuclear ultimately explodes, the building simultaneously jumps, safely transporting them to a new other Earth. Polly emerges from a side passage with her hair done differently and informs Ronan, Beatrix, and Harry that there is no way to return to their planet as she leads them outdoors to discover a more technologically advanced version of their Earth. It's not the future, as Ronan believes, because the building cannot time travel, rather, it's the same day in another universe. The gang decides to split up to hunt for information concerning Alex. Ronan joins Polly, while Beatrix joins Harry. Tinker has also arrived unnoticed by them, and he exits the building shortly after they have. Beatrix and Harry are in an electronics store when Harry notices an exceptionally powerful cell phone and decides to buy it to resale to a big-name firm in their planet. The business, however, does not accept his credit card. Instead, the cashier requests bio and requires him to scan his palm. Surprisingly, it works, and this Earth's Harry appears on the screen. Before departing with the phone, he checks his address, which is only 5 streets away from the business. Tinker appears a split second later to buy all of the devices in the store. He does it with the hand scan, since this reality's Tinker is extremely wealthy. He remains at the business and takes over the rear room to work on making something with everything he's purchased. Polly needs a refresher on all of their names and Ronan's relationship to Beatrix as they travel to Ronan's childhood home. They stop by a food truck that serves crummies, and as they wait for their food, Ronan tells Polly how he doesn't fit in with his family since they're all clever, but he's just a jock. When he attempts to pay in the same way Harry did, it fails since he is not in the system. This signifies that Ronan does not exist or is deceased in this planet. They both flee before the cops can arrive. Meanwhile, Beatrix and Harry arrive at the other Harry's apartment, which is exceedingly nice and luxurious due to this Harry's status as a prominent lawyer for a large business. Beatrix attempts to use the laptop, but she needs a password, so Harry provides her his in case they match. Beatrix 928, which is her name and birthday. It works, and Beatrix looks for information on her father. It turns out that Alex died 3 months ago while working at the building in this world. The story addresses both her mother, who died, and Beatrix herself. However, Ronan is not mentioned. When Harry reads some emails on the other Harry's tablet, he discovers that he's been hiding proof of fatalities caused by the businesses for which his other self works. He contemplates submitting these emails to the press in order to expose him, but the lights and machinery in the apartment begin to malfunction. It's Tinker who is testing his contraption and causing the entire city's electric system to fail. Beatrix thinks it's time to depart, but Harry remains behind to send those emails, despite his inability to do it. He changes his mind though, when this world's Beatrix appears and announces they're married. Motivating him to do the right thing, he departs after sending the information. Ronan and Polly arrive to his boyhood home and get entry owing to Ronan's old keys matching the residence. Ronan shows Polly the unusual sphere his father left him as they are eating a snack. Polly says that such technology can only originate from the core world, which is the reality in which the structure was constructed, but no one has ever visited. Ronan wonders how his father got it and repeats the slang Polly used before, but she doesn't recognize it this time. They go into Ronan's room, which plainly lacks his belongings because he doesn't exist here. Polly refers to it as parallel universe déjà vu. Ronan explains what happened to his mother. He used to have a nasty temper, and once when driving home, a vehicle drove them off the road. Ronan became enraged and dragged the other driver through the truck window to yell at him, but when his mother tried to intervene to stop him from killing the driver, she was hit by a car. Crying, Ronan reveals he blames himself for her death, which is why he abandoned his sister, who had to postpone her college plans as a result. When Polly informs him that he should get used to how varied but similar the world may be, Ronan has an idea and goes to the garage to look into the car trunk. His suspicion is confirmed when he discovers his father's emergency pack. This time, though, the newspaper contains nothing except a note ordering Ronan to leave. A vehicle pulls up outside at that point, and the three armed guys who were hunting for Alex the day before begin yelling for him again. They even break inside the home, but Ronan slips behind two of them and knocks them unconscious. The third is brought down by Polly, who used a taser she discovered in another universe. Polly has no idea who these men are. However, she has seen them in other planets and knows they are harmful, so they must go quickly. When they enter the building after watching the other Harry being hounded by reporters on the huge street screens, Tinker is already there with his new contraption. He adds that he escaped the nuclear blast by hiding within the structure and that he's now here to ring the bell. There's no way the building's inventor could have left such a strong item alone, therefore he assumes this person is on one of the blocked floors. Tinker uses his contraption to hack into the building's system and shock it, causing it to tremble until Harry and Beatrix arrive, and she aims his revolver at him. Ronan persuades her to let him finish since it could lead to answers, and Tinker keeps increasing the shocks until the elevator door closes. The person who emerges astounded everyone. It's Alex, who informs Tinker that he's the first person to link to the building in this way, and that he should enter the elevator if he wants to know why his Earth was nuked. Alex moves closer to his children when Tinker left, but Polly moves away from him. Alex adds that he has always attempted to keep them away from the building, and that he has been on the road for a long time. He and their mother are not from the Earth where Ronan and Beatrix grew up. They just went there after deciding to cease traveling in order to safeguard their children. He also informs them that their mother isn't really dead, and that they should locate her and give her the sphere he gave Ronan, since she's the only one who knows how to travel to the core world. This is significant since the individual who designed the structure is no longer alive, and the higher levels are now vacant. Tinker's machine is the key to commencing their search. It will assist them in finding their mother. Tinker is returning to them, but as soon as the door opens and he labels Alex a liar, Alex grabs the pistol from Beatrix and shoots him before departing. Beatrix wants to follow him, but the building's lights begin to flicker, declaring a leap. The gang runs to Tinker's machine and examines the screen, which now displays hundreds of lines representing possibilities. Ronan picks one at random, and the building leaps, so he, Beatrix, and Harry head outside to see what type of Earth they've arrived on. Polly remains behind to meet with two other Pollys who have been hidden in the building the entire time, and they play rock paper scissors to see who will leave with the group next, even trading coats to keep the deception going. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and make sure to turn on notifications for more content. Thanks so much for watching.